How's it going, boys and girls? Data here, and welcome back to the Minnesota Wild Franchise Mode, episode 21, as we are moving into the 2025 off-season. In the last episode, it was a heartbreaking loss. Once again, we're getting used to it in the second round and in 7 games, no less, as we dropped to the Colorado Avalanche, who went on to lose in 7 to the Capitals in the Stanley Cup Finals. We did have a 6-game rout against the Chicago Blackhawks, which was a really fun time, but in the second round, we just couldn't get the scoring to come through. Goaltending was quite solid from Connor Hellebuyck, and our top scorers were there for the most part, but a lot of people weren't showing up enough. Kaprizov, 6 goals were nice, but no assists and a -4. You had Greenway 6 points. Rossi at 5 points was the biggest backbreaker for us. 5 points coming off a 64-point season, 6 goals, 58 assists. Call him Adam Oates. So anyways, enough on that. We're heading into this offseason with a lot of changes coming in, as we had the retirement of our captain, Ryan Suter, and we also had the expiration of the contract of Zach Parise. We don't know what's going to happen there, but we know that if he does come back, it's not going to be to play full-time NHL minutes. And aside from him, we also have an expiring deal to Blake Wheeler, which we're not going to be looking to extend, expiring deal to Anze Kopitar that we're not looking to extend, and some other deals that we'll take care of once we are done with the draft. But first things first, we need to head into the draft, and we do have some comments to address for the draft specifically and for the offseason as a whole. First off, I love this one from Ramsey saying, if Eddie Olczyk retires, you should put in an application to take his spot. The commentary is top notch. Thank you very much, Ramses. I take great pride in my commentary skills. Although I was listening back, I don't know if last game was my best, but there have been some gems in my career when we're going for the in-game simulation. Some general comments here. Jackie saying to trade Brett Pesce, who was really bad. He was a -7, I believe, in the playoffs. We definitely want to get ourselves rid of him. Hoot Hoot Boy saying time to clear the team from all these bums and go with the big guns. Boldy, Lambert, Enqvist, first line next season. Now to this comment, I am slightly confused because I wasn't sure if he was talking about Sven Sjöland, but then I realized, no, actually, we don't have an Enqvist in the system. He's talking about going out and getting Enqvist, that prospect who's tearing it up. We can't see the league stats right now, but if we actually I can go to contracts and find him. Over in the Islanders here, Enqvist, he is a franchise power forward, first overall pick in 2022. So, hey, if we could go get him, that would be amazing. He's not signed, well, actually, he's going into restricted free agency status, so he'll have to get signed by the Islanders. So, you know what? I would love to get Nicklas Enqvist on this team, 96 overall at the age of 20. This guy just looks purely broken, just putting up points left and right. So, you know what? Enqvist could be a possibility for that first-line power forward for the chemistry. Could be a possibility. Maybe we could revisit that on July 1st or down the road. Either way, Enqvist, what a monster. Andrew says, salut de Lizard, as you said, aka salut la visite to Zach Parise. Even as a depth or minor veteran, he's just taking up a spot at this point. Thanks for all your services. I'll take any further comments to the Discord channel, where we'll hop in just a second. Andrew also went on to say that if we can get him on a 2-way deal, it would definitely be worth it to bring back Zach Parise, but there would definitely be some reservations scratching him for when there's a kid with upside who could be playing. Pat makes a very good comment about the coaching here, first opening up by saying that it's hard to be mad when Jussi Saros was the best goalie in the league and was showing shades of a 90s Dominik Hasek, so understandable. With all the departing players and the recent playoff letdowns, this may be the window to realistically drive this coach to the airport and go +5 hunting. So it's no secret that we haven't been super happy with our coaching. We've had good coaches, we've had very passable coaches, more than that. The team fit isn't accurate right now because most of the players are gone, but we were in the 70s for Van Ryn, or high 60s, and we also have Roby Shaw here, who we've grown to an A-, but we really got to get a really good fitting coach if we're going to have good chemistry and not just settling for +1s and +3s. When we do have the player types, we have the power forwards on our team. And for the last comment here on YouTube, TCL1F3 says, Ludman, all in on Ludman. Talking about the draft class, if we go and look at who's projected to go number 2 here, it is Murray Ludman, a playmaker, 6'2", 38 goals, 48 assists in the OHL. Similar to Sean Monahan, NHL ready, and being on the right wing is pretty tempting, as we're going to see that in a moment. Over on the Discord server, as we transition to there, to Hobbsy's comment, once again, a mammoth of a book right here All great content, and it's all on the screen right here, but I do want to focus in on a few specific parts. So with Suter retiring, it is a new chapter here in Minnesota, which I believe requires a new captain. So if we do want to bring Parise back, go for it, but nothing more than an injury replacement. For the captaincy, I think Kaprizov is the choice, face of the franchise, and wouldn't be opposed to giving it to Boldy as he is turning into a stud, but it's probably Kaprizov's to lose. For the draft, there are 5 elite prospects, as we see on the screen right here. Magnuson, Ludman, the two-way forwards, and Valen, or Valine, I'm not sure. So I'll just move the comment to the side here for a second. Just to make a quick note, it's Marcus Magnuson. So we got playmaker, two-way, and then a two-way D. And we were picking at number 5, mind you. And all 5 of these prospects are listed as NHL ready, which is especially interesting for Valine, whatever we want to call him, since he is 17 years of age. Being NHL ready is fantastic. However, Hobbsy says that he's going to say no, as he is not needed. We already have Botter, Krug, Tarky, Sergachev, Ellington, Korea, and that's already the top 6 right there. Don't forget the D pool that is loaded with guys like Montgomery and Teemu Pillman, other medium elite prospects. So he's also a two-way D, which isn't great for chemistry. So the 3 options in Hobbsy's minds are trading up, trading back, or trading for a player to help now. Trading back doesn't make much sense, as there really isn't much, and to be honest, I 100% agree. Looking back here, there are some good players with potential, but no one who's going to be ready at least 3 years away, ETA for everybody, except, well, there are 2-year guys who are medium top 6, but for the elites and for the top 10 picks, I guess, it's all at least, after the elites, it's all 3 years away. So would it be the craziest thing to go for a top 6 prospect who's 2 years away? I don't think so. But, two-way forward, it's always difficult because we have to take chemistry into account, and trading back is always a big disaster in NHL. Like, I'll just go ahead and say it right here that I do go ahead and do pre-scouting when it comes to the draft once in a while, like just to see what teams want to trade their picks. I don't draft any players ahead of time. I don't cheese the system like that, but I do go into the draft just to see are there teams who want to trade their picks, because I don't find it very realistic that I only find out that a team wants to trade their pick as they're on the clock to make that pick. In the NHL, you'd have days to discuss it with the team. So all that being said, I did look into, let's say if I was pick number 5 and I wanted to trade back to pick number 6, what would they give me? And they wouldn't even give me a 7th round pick to move up from 6 to 5. So that doesn't really make a lot of sense, and teams 1 to 4 all do not want to trade their pick either. So I don't think that even if I threw in the 5th overall pick and Brett Pesce, that they would take that deal. So that's usually how it goes when it comes to trades within the AI GM's brain. So I kind of skim over the rest of what Hobbsy says there, but he did say to focus in on Ludman since he would be a right wing. And we have Kaprizov and Boldy locked in on the left wing on the top 6, so right wing would be where we're trying to look. If we were to trade for a player right now, it would be interesting because you could take the value of the pick and turn it into a stud like Hughes, Makar, even Jake Sanderson, or go for a young forward to help grow with the core of the team. Concerning the lineup itself, it could be a good time to move on from Mason Shaw and find a really good face-off man or penalty kill center to center that 4th line with Comtois and Kaut, but it wouldn't be a huge deal if we did continue to roll with Mason Shaw, which leaves 1 spot open on forward, and with the boatload of money that we have, we should definitely put that to good use. Then Hobbsy goes on to list some names, which we'll definitely take a look at if they do drop to free agency, but I won't spend too much time on it now since they could very well just get re-signed by their teams. For defense, it's interesting because if Pesce gets moved, we're left with 4 guys. Ellington would take one of the 5th or 6th spots, and then that leaves Korea to take the other one, if possible. But again, if there's a really good D-man out there, Hobbsy says to go for it. A guy like Drysdale might be interesting either, or the Hughes, Makar, Sanderson, but it's really difficult because we still don't quite know the line fits with how our new coach is going to fit. So, and a lot of it is still going to depend on July 1st. So I don't want to make really any blockbuster deals necessarily at the draft when there's so many free agent options and we have so much money to throw around. And he finishes off by saying that he just clued in is that it's comments like these that cause me, Data, to spend the first half of the episode going over comments. So we spent a lot of time on these comments and we just want to get into this off season. Just to quickly cover the other ones in the Discord server, Hef agrees that the last thing we need is probably in the system is another D-man. Power forward Cook does look interesting, but I think that would be a huge drop off in overall. Like Valen here would probably be like a 76 overall, and Cook would probably be in the low 60s if he is 3 years away. So it's quite a drop off when it comes to trade value, especially considering that we would only get a 7th round pick if we were to move back from 5. Doesn't really make me want to go after Josh Cook. And then Pat comes in and says, please hire Phil Kessel now that he is a scout and send him to the Dell to scout and tour the world's finest cased meats. Ah, what a beautiful send-off that would be for Phil Kessel. Great retirement. On the subject of staff, the local sports radio people want to see a coaching change to build around Kaprizov, and I understand and I'm with them. The top 9 is solid. We have some great prospects ready to go, and you did great things while you had those anchor contracts. Time to finally start the next era. Those contracts were wild. I'm glad we made it out. I'm glad we had success with them. But now it's time to move into the next era for sure. Hicks also agrees with Pat, saying that with Suter retired and Preseason being let to go to free agency, it is time for a new era in Minnesota around Kaprizov, Lambert, who now has low franchise potential, Tarky, and Botter. Closing out the comments section here, we'll go to Jiggles. We really had a good end to the comment here, saying that an idea would be that if none of the top 4 forwards are one that we like, and by number 5, if they're all taken, we can always try flipping number 5 for a prospect, and not a pick, just an already established prospect who fits the ideal line combos that we are building. So again, that comes to line chemistry, unfortunately not being something we know yet. So I believe the game plan will be, if all 4 of these players are taken, which I think they will, forwards rarely drop, it's usually the defense that drop, unless something crazy happens, we will pick Valen at number 5, and we will immediately trade him come July 1st / the first month of the off season, when we get to know our coach and whatever lines we'll be having. I don't want to trade the pick right now for a player that may or may not fit our system, or a prospect I'm not totally sold on. I would like to draft the medium elite prospect who has guaranteed trade value, and then maybe he stays actually, but someone's moving. There's someone in our defensive pool who is definitely moving. So without further ado, I know that's another long opening, but off seasons always have the long openings. And yeah, so as I said, the first 4 picks, no one wants to trade their selection. So I'm not even gonna, well, you know what? Let's say pick number 2. I'll try it, but I would be absolutely shocked, according to the EA system, if they would take the 5th overall pick and Brett Pesce for moving up from 5 to 2. So San Jose says, yeah, the value isn't where it needs to be at all compared to what we are being asked to give up. So in theory, we could move some other things. We could move some prospects here. We could go with some forward prospects, that is. We don't have a lot of forward prospects, actually. We could give up other draft picks, but I'd like to keep my 3rd, 4th round picks. But that wouldn't even do it. We have to trade top picks next season. And I'm not sold on that. I'm just really not sold on that. So I'd rather, instead of trading the 5th overall pick, a good defenseman, and my 1st or 2nd round pick next season, I'd rather just make the selection, get a prospect with high trade value, and then move him for someone that I want to get. Instead of, even though Ludman would be like an 82 overall right winger probably, since he is NHL ready. 1st overall selection goes to the Rangers. It is Marcus Magnuson, 82 overall medium elite playmaker, fantastic stats, already a 3rd line forward. And I'm going to have to do it here. He's probably 81 or 82 overall. It'd be nice to have him on that right side. Do we give up the second round pick next season? Okay. It's so tempting. He's NHL ready. A 1st this season, a 2nd next season, and Brett Pesce. I'll do that. I'm not trading my 1st next season, but I will try to give you, I'll even add something just to make sure that it balances out. Oh, forgive me. It goes against everything that I just planned going into this episode. But let me see what they would say. 5th, a 6th, and a 7th next season. Trade rejected? No. Okay, so it looks like they're too greedy. Even with the 7th? No. And last try? Okay. It isn't where it needs to be at all compared. Same thing. Okay, so a 5th overall pick and a 2nd round pick and Brett Pesce to move up to number 2 is still getting rejected quite outrightly. So I did what I could. It would take a lot more trading, and I don't really want to move those pieces. So Ludman will go to the Sharks, and he is 81 overall medium elite right wing playmaker. 6'2", 3.5-star shooting, 4-star puck skills, a fantastic prospect, no doubt. But you know what? Maybe he wouldn't have fit the system, and it could be a blessing in disguise. Who knows what Valen will be traded for, or whatever defensive prospect we're moving. Or will he get picked? Gagne goes 3rd overall, René Gagne, to the LA Kings. 4th line forward. He's a 2-way forward. Pretty good shooting stats for a 2-way forward. Good for him, 79 overall. And the Flames will go ahead and select Finnerty. So that does leave Valen. Griffin Finnerty. two-way forward, 79 overall, medium elite. So that leaves us with the 5th overall selection. Like I said, I did do some pre-scouting. I said if I put it on the open block, I got offered like Bo Horvat, I got offered Jonathan Marchessault, but not really what I'm looking to do. So I'm gonna go ahead and make the selection. Lassie Vallon from whoa, that's quite a name. From Djurgården Hockey of the SHL. Let's do it. 6'2", 17 years of age. He looks like a monster out there, similar to Victor Hedman. NHL ready. Let's hope for like 78 overall. Welcome to Minnesota with the 5th overall selection. He's a 78. Look at that. Okay. He's a 78, so he's more NHL ready than usual. Because NHL ready, when we drafted like Mika Tarki, who was NHL ready, he was more in the mid-70s, right? 78 overall at the age of 17. Blessing in disguise, maybe. Maybe we keep Vallon and we trade like Korea and Montgomery. Who knows? But someone's getting traded for sure. Lassie Vallon, welcome to the Minnesota Wild, and thank you, Nashville, for giving us that 5th overall pick in the Brad Lambert deal. So our next selection wouldn't be all the way until pick number 65. There are definitely some prospects we'd want to try and go for, and it's already a guarantee that we're moving Brett Pesce. So we could probably move him. We could probably get a first, but we could definitely get a second. So I think I'll trade into the second round because there's not a lot of tempting names here. Look at this, 7th D, top 9 forwards. So there's not a lot of tempting names here. Maybe Sam Perron. All these guys are 3 years away. Not terrible. Zane Hilbert. I'd have to take a little bit of a look here. Perron is very interesting at pick number 18 or so. So I guess I could try. No one wants to trade their pick. I'd have to trade it to 15. And I don't think Brett Pesce is enough. No, not even close. So I'm not even going to think about that. Let's just see what kind of second round pick we could get. Because if we do go on the open block and we say what would teams want to give up for Brett Pesce, I'm sure we could get, I'm sure there's a team that wants to give us a second and a third even. Vetrano, a 2/3, third. So pretty much 2/3 is what we could get. Or even Zamnov, a prospect from the Panthers, and a 4th. Or even Stringer. Yeah, so, but I'd rather just get a prospect who I can start off fresh with instead of trading for a prospect already. And I should do my due diligence on Zamnov at the very least. And he is a 75 overall, 21-year-old centerman, two-way forward. Yeah, not ideal, 72 faceoffs. Okay, a good prospect for sure, but I think I'd rather trade into the second round. So I'm going to sim to the next round. And in that first round, who went after that? We got, okay, so Cook was a 65 overall. It did drop off quite a bit after the top 5 selections. Datsuk was a 70 overall power forward. Aside from that, all 60-some overalls. Perron was 65 overall playmaker. Yeah, top 9 forwards at the end here. Medium, oh, look at this guy. Guy Castonguay. Low elite, 74 overall, defensive defenseman, 17 years of age. That's a good pick from Vancouver. Very good pick. But now in the second round, we want to figure out who are we going for. Hobbsy did make mention of some guys we want to look at going for. Yeah, Cross and Hextall, but they're not coming up yet. We got to think about second round names that we could trade Brett Pesce for. What prospect will we get for Brett Pesce? So here's a medium top 6, Jared Thompson, 18 years of age, maybe a sniper. 3 years away, similar to nobody. Or there's Logan Clapperton, who could be a power forward, similar to Owen Nolan, 19 years old though. That's what killed. I would have gone for him if he was 17 or 18, but 19, and still 3 years away at 19. I can't do it. I can't do it, Clapperton. Love the name, but I can't do it. There just isn't a lot over here. It's not a really good year for drafts. It's not a great year for the draft here. Low top 6 maybe. Martin Alcock. But by then I could already use my next pick, which is at 66 coming up. So I don't think there's really anyone I want to trade up for here. Thompson was nice. Jared Thompson's not bad. He's probably the only one I'd think about. But even then, I'm not sure if I could get that pick, as that's 41 would have a bit of value. So I'm going to see if I can get I'm going to sim this pick against Calgary, and I'm going to see if I can get a second round pick from someone in next year's draft for Brett Pesce. Difficult here, as next year's second round picks have a lot of value. They have a lot of value. Like even on Anaheim here, a middle of the group kind of team, and they do want to trade their pick. And they do want Brett Pesce. That's still... Is that enough? Could we ship him off to Anaheim? Okay, nice. That is a good deal for us. We'll take it. Brett Pesce off to the Anaheim Ducks. We will get their second-round selection in next year's draft. They were what? Like, they were a bottom 10 team. Kind of middle of the pack, bottom 10 to 15 range, I think. Actually, well, what? I'll check their selection in a moment here. But now we have a first next season along with 2 seconds. Let me see this. Where... they were picking... Okay, you know what? There was the 7th worst team. That's not a bad deal for us. Hopefully they could be a somewhat bad team next season as well, and that would be a better second-round pick than the second-round pick we would have gotten now. So, Brett Pesce, you came here in that deal from the Hurricanes that also got us... what's his name? Slavin, that's what it was. Yeah, Slavin. And Slavin left, but Pesce stayed, and it just didn't work out. He played 1 season with us, but it's time to say goodbye as it hasn't been great. Wow, medium league goalie just went. Low top 6 forward. All right, so now round 3, pick 3, 65th overall. We're going to go ahead and make our selection. We could take Trent Hart, who's a low top 6 two-way forward, or we could take a guaranteed medium top 4 defenseman, or even reach just a little bit and get a guaranteed low top 6 playmaking center. Low top 6 two-way forward winger, who's 6'3", that's pretty nice. Or the low top 6 playmaking center, who's 17, 5'9", ranked 68th by our scouts, 73rd in central scouting. This guy's ranked 63rd by our scouts, 65th in central scouting. Scores goals, 25 goals in the OHL. 3 years away, low top 6 isn't bad for the potential. We'll go ahead and do Trent Hart from the Barrie Colts. There we go, 62 overall, low top 6. Friends with a couple of the other guys we've drafted from the Barrie Colts. Definitely no stats aren't anything special, and we'll move to pick 84 as we'll select the 22nd selection of this 3rd round now. We do have Benjamin Cyphers, who's 1 bar medium elite, 4 years away. I'd rather go for the low top 4D, or even this guy here, Tristan Romano, who's a low top 6 power forward. Ooh, that's pretty tempting. Or even the low top 6 sniper, Jacob Galchenyuk. You know, like these defensemen look nice, but you know, last thing we need are more good defensemen in the system, I think. And I will reach a little bit. It's not much of a reach. Our scouts have him at 84. Or we go for Galchenyuk, left wing. I'm going to go for the power forward. Let's do Tristan Romano from the U.S. development system. Welcome to Minnesota. He's 62 overall, power forward. 93 slap shot accuracy. He's one of these, here he is. He's one of the prospects with these wonky stats. 85 deking, but 65 hand-eye. 85 defensive awareness, but 60 shot blocking. And then 88 speed, but 70 acceleration. He's one of these broken glitches. So, hey, Tristan Romano, welcome to the team. So just to make note of any other players in the 3rd round here, it was all medium top 9s, it looks like, a few low top 6s. So I'm very happy with the selection that we did make. In the 2nd round, there were a bunch of medium... Ooh, this guy would have been nice, Richter, but he wasn't even on my radar. Cole Richter. So there were a bunch of decent names. Thompson was a medium top 6, two-way forward. There was some top 4D. Clapperton was a power forward. Logan Clapperton, 63 overall, but 19 years of age, 1-star puck skills, 1-star defense. Wasn't really sold on Clapperton. Low elite there, rally. So anyways, our next selection is at 117. Just got to make sure there's no one that we're skipping over. Actually, that guy that we want is coming up soon, right? There he is, Wyatt Cross, medium elite. So we'll try to trade for pick like 92, and then we'll go from there. I'm actually going to try to risk it for 94, because that would make the first selection of the 4th round, which has less value than the 31st selection of the 3rd round. So I'm going to see if throwing in a 7th in a couple seasons is enough. No. I do have 2 7s next year, so we could do a 6th next season instead. That's a pretty fair deal. Yeah, that's a very fair deal. Moving up 20-some selections to get and give you a 6th round pick next year. That is fair. Please, 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 please be here, Wyatt Cross. And he is, thank goodness. From USA Central, the scouts came through. He is, he had 11 goals, 27 assists. A lot of weaknesses and 4 years away, but he'll have the potential for the trade value. Wyatt Cross, 59 overall. Hey, and a sniper, actually. Medium elite, 59 overall. Okay, this is not the typical 49 overall guy who's never going to be anything. 59 overall, medium elite, 94th overall selection. This could be a gem down the road. Make note of Wyatt Cross, my friends. Maybe not just trade bait. I could see Wyatt Cross being something, maybe. That would be interesting. Anyways, we're pretty much done on prospects that we're really looking at. The other medium elite player is at 126, so we will have to trade up to go get Camden Hextall. But aside from that, I don't think there's really many other names. There are some good potential players, but no one that I want to really make a lot of trades for. A lot of two-bar prospects, but doesn't really persuade me enough to want to make trades. I'll see if Colorado wants to give me 123 and 216 for 135 and Detroit's 7th next season. Trade accepted. Thank you very much, Colorado. Gives us another pick just to even it out a little bit more. 123, Calgary. No, I'm not going to trade 123. Get your filthy paws off of Camden Hextall. He's coming here. Although he's 20 years of age, competition is E, and he still didn't have the craziest stats for a 20-year-old. This guy is actually 5 years old. This guy's never cracking the NHL, but he is medium elites for some reason. So welcome to Minnesota. 56 overall, power forward centerman. Yeah. Interesting numbers, we'll just call them that. Going to pick 179 now. We'll just pick the best player available, potential wise, that is. We do have 1-bar medium elite and a few 2-bar low elites, some 2-bar top 6 forwards, 3-bar medium 4D. You know what? I will go and take our first defenseman of the draft, first and only, Jyrki Malmivara from Liga. I'm going to go for 3 bars medium top 4D. Let's try it out. Defensive defenseman, just to get some potential. He's a top 6D. Pretty garbage, but last chance. Second to last pick of the entire draft with pick number 216. Tobias Stutzla. Well, no, it's spelled Stutzel. 20 years old. Nah, I'm not going to do that. Connor Correa, 19 years old, 2-bar medium starter. Actually, I'm guaranteed medium backup or a guy who's 2-bar medium starter. If I'm looking at a goalie, there's no more forwards in defense. We may as well just take a goalie. But do we take a guaranteed backup who's 19 years old playing in Liga or a 2-bar starter playing in the WHL? That's tough. Lars Ekman or Connor Correa. Pretty solid names. I'm going to go for Lars Ekman. Let's see what he's got. He is guaranteed medium backup and 60 overall. Not bad. I'll take it. Lars Ekman. He can keep growing over in Europe. And the last selection is a low top 9 forward. There, that was Stutzel. So a pretty solid draft, I would say. We still have a lot of decisions left to make in this offseason, but we can begin to move to the re-sign phase. I will re-sign that coach, and I will re-sign these scouts. Give me a sec. All right, that is all taken care of, and now we're moving into the re-sign phase, where we have a literal boatload of money at $32.375 million and barely anyone to spend it on. So let's start off with the UFAs here. Blake Wheeler, top 9 potential, 38 years of age. No way he stays at that overall, and no way he's worth $5.3 million, unfortunately. So we are going to have to let him go. Although he had a really good season here. We signed him on a 1-year deal, and he pulled his weight. He scored 63 points in 82 games. Really, really good season. His best since 21-22 with Winnipeg. So thank you for your service here, Blake. You did great in the playoffs as well, but I'm going to have to let you go. Anze Kopitar, a fantastic pickup for us at the trade deadline of 2024. He scored 15 points in 19 games. In the playoffs that season, he scored 7 points in 13 games. We brought him back when we thought that he wasn't going to. Much slower, much subdued of a season, but still 33 points as an old man. He's getting up there in age. So Anze Kopitar, we really enjoyed having you here in Minnesota, but we are going to have to let you go. Bottom 6 potential, wants almost $2 million. Gotta let you go, buddy. Aside from that, Korea, we definitely can re-sign him right off the bat. Give him his entry-level contract at 0.950 for 3 years, low elite. He is a first-round selection from 2023. Aside from that, Sherwood, we can definitely let Sherwood go. He doesn't want to re-sign. And we can give entry-level deals to Dal Cole and Drake. Zach Parise, who does want to re-sign, wants $2.225 million. Zach, I hopefully look forward to seeing you soon, but there's no chance I'm re-signing you for that price tag, so I'm going to let you go right away, save us all the time. Mason Shaw, I'm definitely going to re-sign Mason Shaw, but we're still not sure if he's going to be our 4th-line center long-term. I like that he wants to re-sign and doesn't want a lot of money either. Like, we could give him... Actually, he wants a 2-way deal. I didn't even realize that. He wants a 2-way deal, so I'll give him that. I'll give him 3 years at 1... I can't even give him that. So I can't give him what he wants. I can give him 2 years at 2 years, 2 ways, 0.975. 81 overall, I'll take that. RFAs now. So Comtois, Kaut, Bemstrom, Norlander, Ball, I don't think there's anyone I'm not going to re-sign here. I think everyone here could play in the AHL, if not in the NHL, because Comtois and Kaut, we definitely want them in the NHL. Unsigned, Valen, we're not sure about about him yet, or Sjogren, so I'll keep them unsigned for the moment. And then over for goaltending, Ben Bishop, fringe starter, doesn't want to re-sign. He won the Vezina. He came here, signed a 2-year contract in Minnesota, won the Vezina in his first season, got his hamstring blown out and couldn't play in the playoffs. Came back the year after in a backup role, went 6-7-1, 900 save percentage. He's starting to go downhill. But Ben, we really, really appreciate all that you did here, and we got to let you go as well. Kozevnikov, I will give him his entry-level contract, as he'll be playing in Iowa for sure. Morozov likely to be our NHL backup. Hopefully Hunter Jones could stay as a third goalie, and then Kozevnikov and Wallstedt can split the net down in Iowa. So I'll take care of the rest of the UFAs and the RFAs here quickly. So we'll advance the day now. Just to note that for Maxime Comtois, he was wanting a 1-year deal at $0.8 million, and that would keep him as an RFA. So I went ahead and did that. I could have gone 3 years at like $1.1 million, but I think it would make more sense to keep him as RFA status and reevaluate if we're going to be keeping him next season. Kaut does not want to re-sign, so I just qualified him. We'll advance the day and see what happens with all the scouts and the UFAs and the RFAs. All right, so Comtois is on board. That's great. Bemstrom says yes. La Joie. Bitten, okay, he wants to get a little bit more money, understandable. Mason Shaw doesn't like the two-way offer, even though that's what he asked for. Okay, Sokolov, Kozevnikov, Hollowell, Dalcole, Drake, Lodina, Gushkov, Ball, Giroux, Novak, Norlander, Korea. So I kept most of Iowa together since they had such a crazy good season. I said there's no reason to really break up the Iowa Wild right now. Will Bitten's always been a great player for us. He's been good depth. He's been a good trooper as well. So I did offer him, I think I offered him 2 years at .950, or it could have been 3. But I will try giving him 2 years at .975, which is the max two-way deal. We'll see what he says to that. Mason Shaw says he doesn't want a two-way deal, even though that's what he asked for. So let's try 3-year, $3 million deal, which is one way. Let's try that. We could go even 4 or 5. We could do a lot of years on Mason Shaw. So you know what? If he ends up staying at... good for him. Let's go 8 years, $8 million on Mason Shaw. Why the heck not? Belpedio, I'm going to release him, but I just want to say a thank you to him as well. He was a third-round pick from the real Minnesota Wild in 2014. He's just kind of stuck at 77. He's been good down in Iowa. He's filled in injuries sometimes. He's played full-time at other times, but I'm going to go ahead and release him and get somebody better in free agency if we need to. And then RFA, it's just Kaut, and that's pretty much it. So advance to see for Shaw and Bitten. More scouts signing on. All the scouts have signed on, so that's never an issue. Bitten's still rejecting that dollar value, and even Mason Shaw, he's not content with the amount of minutes he'd play. That's true. We did scratch him at the end of the season, and he was playing an average of 8 minutes a night. Yeah. So we'll go a bit more realistic. Let's say 3 years at $1.1 million. The guy's an 81 overall. He's a fourth-line center. I think the 1.1 is definitely, even though it's more than he's asking for, that's a very fair contract. So 3 years at 1.1 for Mason Shaw, a bit more realistic. Will Bitten, I literally can't pay you more unless I give you a one-way deal, and you have been good depth. So now I'm going to be moving things down, though. It's going to be 1 year, one way, and $1 million. That's my final offer, Will Bitten. If you don't want that, I'm going to have to let you go. I'm sorry. And there's too many... goodbye. And Mason Shaw, easy decision, fantastic. Will Bitten, I'm sorry. I've always liked you, a draft pick from the Montreal Canadiens back in 2016. Great puck skills, and he's always been good in the NHL and the AHL. He played a full 82-game season in 23-24, scoring 18 points. But guess that's it for Will Bitten in Minnesota. It's been a pleasure. I cannot say that I have any ill sentiments towards Will Bitten. Anyways, we still have $31.995 million cap space, and we're ready to hit the free agent market. So advance on the last day here. It is July 1st. Emmanuel Desprez didn't want to re-sign. Goodbye. And we're ready to hit free agency. So before we start looking at signing contracts and blah, 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 I just want to look at the names. I'm so tempted. Who are the names that are available before I go and look at scouts and everything? Oh my goodness. Well, let's look at UFAs, because Engqvist is not going to... yeah, Engqvist is not actually available. But in theory, he is, so we could try and trade for his rights, maybe. Pierre-Luc Dubois wants 14 million. Galchenyuk wants 12 million. Yeah, not happening. Let's look a bit more realistic. Kailer Yamamoto wants 8 million. He's an 86 overall playmaker. That's tempting. Nick Ehlers is also available. Patrice Bergeron still around. Shea Theodore, Yanni Gourde. No power forwards around except Blake Wheeler, of course. Jake DeBrusk, Josh Hosang. Jesper Boqvist, he's a medium top 6, really? Okay, up to an 85 overall. Radish, 84. These guys just want way too much money. I'm not going to give Taylor Radish 7.725 million. Kiefer Bellows. Oh, wow. Kiefer Bellows only wants 2.6? Oh, wow. That is crazy. Only wants 2.6 million. But that would be a third line role, because this considering the depth that we have right now as of today, the only thing we need is a third line sniper, because we have Kovanov and Kostin as our playmaker and power forward. So realistically, I love that Kiefer Bellows option, but we just need a third line sniper, to be honest, unless we're going to go out and trade for somebody, but I'd rather use the trading chip that we do have for a prospect. So Jake DeBrusk, a bit too expensive. If we just look, okay, now we got Smith, we got Fabry, still a bit expensive for a third liner. Nichushkin, 3.175 million, also interesting. But I'm gonna, even Sidney Crosby's out here, but bottom 6 potential. He's gonna keep dropping. Vander Kane, Vrana at 3 million. That's tempting. But does he simulate like a sniper? That's the question. Does he simulate like a sniper? 23 goals. The season before last. This last season, only 8 in 82. That's pretty scary. Other snipers, Duclair, Kasha. So I'm gonna wait before we send out any offers. Of course, we said that we want to. First, we gotta send out something to Kaut to get him to sign. We gotta go look at there any new scouts that I can upgrade, as well as the coaching staff. We have to look at the free agency coaches now that it's July 1st as well. So a lot of options for NHL head coach. But the sad part is that we don't have our full team fit, because we just don't know everybody. But we do know that we want to maximize Kirill Kaprizov and Marco Rossi. So if we were just exclusively looking at Kaprizov and Rossi, this coach is pretty good at 51%. Loves Rossi and has a pretty good love for Kaprizov. I just want him to also have a good love for Greenway if he's going to be our first line power forward. So a coach that loves all 3 of those guys is definitely going to be hard to come by. And that's it for head coaches right there. We'd have to move into associate coaches after that. And in the associate coach pool, again, very difficult to find. We may have to wait a little bit more. Even David Backes, legend David Backes, but not finding what we need here. And so we may have to wait until September to get a new head coach, when we have everybody in our lineup. That's just really a huge downside to the coaching system here in NHL. So I'm just going to go ahead and sign all of the new scouts here. I thought those were A+ scouts, but there are some A-. Okay, there are some decent scouts here. So I'll work through all of ours, see who gets fired and see who gets signed up. So the scouts are all taken care of, but I'm still just very conflicted here in free agency. We had a little powwow on the Discord server in the voice chat. And man, so defense, I don't think signing any defense will make sense at all, because these asking prices are just astronomically insane. Like 82 overall Nate Schmidt wanting 6.125 million. Come on, that's crazy. Also in goalies here, looking at the goaltenders, Carter Hart is available, 90 overall. He wants 6 years at 7.775. And as tempting as that is, I would love to do that. We do have Connor Hellebuck at an 89 overall. And then backing him up is Morozov, who's a high starter. And then down in Iowa, we have Kozevnikov, who's medium elite, who's like 20 or 21 years old. So it wouldn't make sense to commit to Carter Hart, who's a young goalie, for 6 seasons when we have 2 big prospects coming down the pipeline. Such tempting names here in RFA. Such like Tolvanen and Enqvist. It's crazy. Do we trade for Enqvist's rights? Could we trade for Nicholas Enqvist's rights and just go on a tear? It would probably take like one of those defensive prospects, and we'd have to probably trade Jordan Greenway as well. But then saying to UFA status, if we don't want to go for a big name and splash money on it, like Yamamoto, that would be great. But we don't know his line fit, and that is what's tearing me apart. There's so many good players down here that we could try and sign for the third line. Fabry and Vrana, Crosby, whatever. Even Brad Marchand's down here at an 82 overall somewhere. Even Duclair, Kasha. Yeah, here's Brad Marchand with his bottom 6 potential. He's going to drop even more, so I wouldn't want to sign him. But still, 5-star puck skills, 5-star shooting. Nick Cousins wants $4.9 million. What? And Mike Hoffman is still here wanting $4 million as a 35-year-old depth forward. Okay. But, man, it is just absolutely eating me up here. What I can do for the moment, at least, is try and sign some elite prospects or high whatever prospects. There's this low elite Timothy Donaghy. Actually, that's our prospect. That's our prospect. 4th-round pick in 2023, Timothy Donaghy. Yeah, we traded him away. And now here he is, available. 22 years old, 66 overall. No, I'm going to pass on that. That's too cheese. Trade him away and then get him back, and then we'll probably trade him again. That's a little too cheese for me. But I will go out and try to get this guy right here, Eklund, William Eklund, who's a 3rd-round pick from the Canucks. He's a 78 overall center, 2-way forward. He could play first-line center in Iowa. So it's a kind of expensive-ish. $1.15 million. Actually, for 2 years. Whoa, that's... Whoa, what? He'll take 7 years at 1.0... Even I can go cheaper. I can go 5 years at 0.925 million. So why not? 5 years at 0.95. Why not? Just become a fixture in Iowa at the very least. Guys like Bach are just too old. 25 years old, 70 overall. Don't want to commit to that. Jason Robertson's tempting, but that's not really what I'm looking for. Holmstrom probably would be a guy that I go for to play in Iowa. Simon Holmstrom, 1st-round pick in 2019. 2-way forward with medium top 6 potential still. Why not? I'll throw him a bone. Give him a couple seasons at the max 2-way deal. Oh man, I've been having another powwow session over in the Discord server, and it is just so hard to say no to Nicklas Engqvist here. Because trading for him at the draft was one thing. He was going to get re-signed, we thought. But now that he has dropped the free agency, there have been some contract disputes, perhaps, with the Islanders, who drafted him 1st overall. The man is 5-star everything. Sheesh. He gets a bit high in the penalty minutes, but my goodness. If we can try and swing a trade for Engqvist and then sign him for like 12 point something for 7 years or whatever, that is really something to consider. If we were to do that, I think the man who would have to go the other way is Jordan Greenway. And that would definitely hurt. That would definitely hurt. We love Greenway here on this team. He's the longest serving member of the team, I think, now that Parise and Suter are gone, if I remember correctly. And he's 85 overall. He's only making 2.6 for 4 more seasons. So that we just paid we'll be paying an extra $10 million per year for our first-line right winger. 6'6", big boy, 5-star physical, 4-star puck skills, 4-star defense. Since we took over the team, he's really been ramping it up. 63-point season in 23-24, 57 last year, bit of a down year. Man, but if we could get Engqvist for him, so we would take Greenway and then we would trade one of those defensive prospects that we were talking about as well. So that could be pretty much, it comes down to Valen, Pillman, or Montgomery. So I don't think it's going to be Valen, 78-17. So it'll probably be Teemu Pillman or Braylon Montgomery. 65 at 19 or 67 at 19. Not sure who I'd want to trade. Teemu's 6'4" defensive defenseman, and Montgomery is a 6'5", also a defensive defenseman. His stats are pretty wonky, though. I'll give it to him. You know what? If there's anyone I have to trade, it might be Montgomery. 98 shot blocking, but 71 defensive awareness, 75 stick checking. I don't like that for the future. That's a bit scary in my mind. I hate those wonky prospects. And the 4-star physical is boosting his stats because Pillman, who has less on the physical, only 2.5-star, is a little more well-balanced all around. So I think Montgomery would be the odd man out. If we were to do Montgomery and Greenway for the rights to Nicklas Engqvist, this is just absolutely bananas. New York, I'm going to try throwing in a pick just in case they're laughing me out of the room, like with how happy they are about the fans and me dancing in the streets. I hate when they say the fans are dancing in the streets. 3rd, a 4th, and a 5th. Okay, offer isn't there. Just a 3rd. We could live with what you're sending us. Okay, that gives me peace of mind to offer this straight up. We could live with what you're sending us. It's woefully insufficient. Okay, okay. Okay, so the trade for Engqvist is just not happening. Sergachev, 2 firsts, Greenway, Montgomery, and we're still not even close. So the Islanders do have the money to match Engqvist, but maybe they just, I don't know what's happening with them that they haven't done it yet. I'm going to go ahead and give him an offer. 1 year, 9.1 million. Yeah, it would cost a first, a second, and a third. But the Islanders would definitely match that. However, if we do go, let's say we do go 1 year. Hobbsy suggested this in the Discord. We could go 1 year, offer them so much that they cannot match it. We give up our next 4 years of first-round picks, but it's for Niklas Enqvist, and they wouldn't be able to match it. And then starting on right as soon as July 1st hits, we go and extend him. So we could give him, is that the max? No, we could even go higher than that. We could go all the way to the top, and we have money to burn this season. We can go into the 19. We can go all the way up to 19.250 mil or so. 19.250 mil. And he would sign that, and the Islanders would not be able to match it unless they made some moves. So although we lose 4 first-round picks, we get to keep Greenway. We keep all our prospects. We could even trade Sergachev, who has that 1 year left on his deal. He's been in a lot of trade talks. We could trade him down the road next season before his contract expires and get like 2 first-round picks. So I'm not super worried about the picks. I'm just really like enthralled by Niklas Enqvist. It all goes back to Hoot Hoot Boy's comment at the beginning. So I'm going to offer 1 year, 19.275 million to Niklas Enqvist to come to Minnesota. There's a reason he hasn't signed in New York, and we're going to try to persuade him to sign that deal, and hopefully the Islanders don't make any moves to allow themselves to match it. So we will send that out. He's considering his options, and he will get back to us later. All right, looking forward to hearing from you, Nicholas. And then when December 1st hits, we can sign him for 7 whatever years at like 12, hopefully 12, 13 million, and then we just ride off into the sunset. So we won't make any other moves then because we're waiting to see what the answer from Niklas Enqvist is. The only other thing I'm really thinking about is Zach Parise. I can sort by age, actually, for Zach Parise. Here he is. He wants 2 years. Yeah, that's not going to happen. We'll revisit this later on because Zach Parise is not getting 2.3 million. But I think aside from that, everything is pretty much set. I don't have any other big things to do. I sent out the free agency for the scouts. I don't have any. We don't know what to do with the coaching, so we have to wait until September to figure out who our coach is going to be. So Niklas Enqvist, I have no doubt in my mind that he'll sign the contract. The question is, will the Islanders match it? So Holmstrom, Eklund, both sign on. That's good. And now, all right. So Niklas Enqvist decided to accept the offer, but it's not a done deal yet. Is Niklas Enqvist, the 96 overall, 20-year-old, high franchise power forward, coming to Minnesota? Let's start simulating and see, will the Islanders be able to match it? Oh, I'm shaking here. What's gonna happen here? I don't want Jeff Skinner. You're no longer. No! How did they match it? 19.275? How did they do it? Oh, no. How did they do it? They're at 90 point. They're not even close. They're at 79. They were at 79 million. That means they had 17 million. Now they only went up 11 million despite signing a $19 million contract. How did they do it? I really don't know. EA cheese. I don't know how they did it. But Enqvist will stay on the Islanders. Man, that may have been a quick part of the video here, but I've just spent so much time in the Discord server. Thanks to everyone who gave their thoughts in the Discord server. Man, that's a backbreaker. About Josh Cousineau, sniper. Now, it doesn't make as much sense anymore to go after a big RFA name who's not a power forward. Wouldn't help the chemistry as much. Back to the UFA drawing board here, looking for a third-line sniper. And, man, I'm just heartbroken. I don't even know what to do here. We don't know who wants to, or what the coach will think for a third line. Verana, I'm tempted by Verana, but he scored 8 goals last season. Any other good snipers? Burakovsky scored 14 goals last season. At least that's a bit better. We could bring Zuccarello back, but I need something like, at least Burakovsky has top 6D potential, which means that he won't drop as soon as I sign him. Evgeny Sveshnikov wants 1.8. He got 12 goals last season. Duclair 2.3. Duclair usually simulates pretty well, but 11 goals, 18 assists. Man, I'm just heartbroken. I'm just in shambles right now. I don't know what to say. Brad Marchand's still around. I'm going to go for Burakovsky. He has other offers. You know what? I said I wasn't going to do this because I feel like it's a bit cheap. But if he doesn't fit the lines and I have to trade him, I'm just going to trade him. I'm not, you know, if we wait for the coach, we may just end up getting nobody. And then if we're trying to make a trade, teams don't want to trade, I'm just going to send out a deal. Hopefully we get him. I'll give him 2 years, $2 million to be a third-line sniper. He has Dallas and Chicago knocking on his door as well. Let's just give him that. We'll see what happens, but man, that is heartbreaking. Really heartbreaking, and extremely happy to accept the offer. All right, so we don't know if Burakovsky's going to play with us or not, but he does sign the contract. Contract extensions. We do have a lot of money, and we have expiring deals. We could send out extensions to guys like Sergachev here. He wants 9.575 for 7 seasons. That's pretty expensive. Like we said, we don't know if we're keeping Sergachev, but it wouldn't be a bad thing to just sign him anyways, so we don't wait until the draft, for example, next year, and then his trade value is at 0. So 85% of that is 8.138. So if we get him for 7 years at 8.175, or even 8.150, I'd be happy to do that. I don't know if he's staying. He hasn't been fantastic. And it would just be nice to have him sign. So, like I said, when it gets to next year's draft, we want to move him, for example. We're not tied to having to trade him for just his rights, which would be a lot cheaper. Easy decision. Thank you, Mikhail Sergachev. But we don't know if he's staying as a two-way D. Martin Kaut signs on. Finally, we had qualified him, but I hadn't sent out any other offers. What are we going to do? We still have to figure out what are we going to do for the defensive prospect that we want to trade away, and for the third-line sniper. Those are our 2 big questions. Going back to free agency here, is Zach Parise ready to sign for cheaper now? Let's see. Come on, Zach. He's even Mikko Koivu's here. Zach Parise, he still wants 1 year at $2.2 million? Sheesh, this guy's crazy. Kopitar's still out here as well. A lot of big names are out here. Pacioretty at 75 overall. All right, Zach. We'll see you next season, I guess. We're still quite... I think we're still quite under the salary cap hit. We're at a $65 million cap hit. Yeah, we need to spend some money, actually. And we will spend money. We just don't know what we're spending or who we're spending money on yet. So I'm going to wait until the computer comes out and says that I have to sign somebody. But because if not, I'm just not going to do anything. And we'll just keep on simulating until we get to the beginning of next season, where after the offseason is not over in the summer. The offseason part 2 is going to be here in September, as we really have to start figuring things out at the beginning of the season. All right, so we're here at the beginning of the season, and we can go edit lines. Let's see who has grown over the offseason, if anybody. Not much. Everyone looks exactly the same as before. Yep, literally exactly the same. Defense. Oh my goodness, Skylar Ellington is an 85 overall. Sheesh, undrafted free agent signing. 5-star defense. Oh my goodness. 85 overall, 2 more years on an entry-level deal. Sheesh. Wow. And even Chekovich, up to an 80 overall. Okay, I got to make some roster moves here. So, presto changeo. That's more like it, but still, I was hoping for some more growth over the offseason. Lambert at an 84 is nice. Still a low franchise. Greenway on that first line. If we had gotten Enqvist there, he could have moved down here. Gotten the +1 with Kovanov and Kostin. Man, on defense, so Demetrius Correa is now an 80 overall with that low elite potential. 3 years, he just got signed to his entry-level deal. Chemistry's not good. That's another reason for why we got to get a new coach. So don't look at the chemistry right now, but Leon Botter is what's killing me here. He's still at an 83. He has not budged from an 83 in like a couple seasons now. That is scaring me. Mika Tarki at an 83 as well. Eventually, I'm going to need to put Tarki into the top 4, which means Sergachev's out of a job. Or does Botter move? And maybe Sergachev keeps that extension we just gave to him. But Botter, I'm getting a bit nervous about Leon Botter. Goaltending, Morozov increased to an 81 overall. Hellebuyck still an 89. And Chekovich, Jones here for the healthy scratches. Down in Iowa, I still have to fix all these lines, but Rodin is up to a 78, which is nice. And for goaltending, both Kozevnikov and Wallstedt are 75 overall. Some other guys, yeah, well, definitely have to still fix the lineup, so don't worry about that. But now with the lines as we would want them to, in theory, be, we need to go out and find a coach that gives this team the maximum possible chemistry. Because Van Ryn, 66% staff chemistry, only a 59% team fit. Yeah, that's not going to fly. So Van Ryn's probably just going to have to go, to be honest. I'd rather keep Robichaud. I don't know. Keeping both of them would be great, actually. We don't have a goalie coach, so you know what? Levasseur can be a goalie coach. Robichaud can be an assistant coach, and Van Ryn can be our new associate coach, and then he can actually be the interim NHL head coach, and then when we get somebody else, he can become the associate coach. Patrick Marleau remains as the AHL head coach. We just need a new assistant and goalie coach, but we can still figure that out later. Now we can go look at shopping for an NHL head coach. So we're looking for the 60s of team fit. 65 is nice, but still, look at this. He doesn't like Krug very much. Colton Reinprecht doesn't like Krug. I need someone who's going to really like Rossi, Greenway, and Kaprizov. Likes Kaprizov, which is good, but no other really head coaches that are that great. For NHL associate coaches, let's go look at the associate coaches. 69% from Guillermo Draper. He loves guys like Botter, Tarky, and Correa, but the big boys isn't like that much. That wouldn't work. So I'm just going to have to do some research. Roberto Archibald here. Loves Krug, likes Boldy, likes Kaprizov, Rossi, Greenway. It's decent. This is decent. For 63%, not bad. And then after that, we'd move into the assistant coaches, which is kind of really like the dregs here. Sergei Kostitsyn? Hey, it is here. It's Sergei Kostitsyn. That's crazy. But not actually, but still, that's the same name. 65% here for Paul Helm. 69% for Igor Zykov. 69% for him. Loves Ptarky Botter Korea like that other coach. 65 here. This guy, Tiny Finley. Loves Krug, Boldy, Rossi. Other guys, not so much. 65% though. But even if we had a great team fit, would we sign a coach who is this lowly rated? Man, this is just really breaking my head, and I'm not having a good time. I don't know what to do for the coaches. I do not know what to do. And I think we might have to just pause there. I like to end off the offseason heading into next season, but I need to hear back from all of you. So I think we just need to end it, and there are so many questions. My head is spinning. We have $30.54 million of cap space. All expiring. We could give extensions to Lambert, Kovanov. Chekovich is a big surprise, being up at an 80 overall. So there's a few options there. Unsigned, Valen, Sjogren up to a 77. We do probably need to trade one of those defensive prospects, though. And we need to think about who would probably be the guy that we trade for. Would we get a new third-line sniper instead of Burakovsky? Or do we just keep him anyways? Here's all the trade value of players that we have. Greenway's value has increased quite a bit. Wow, that's a lot of value from Greenway. But I do want to take a second to scroll through all the trade blocks of all the teams in the NHL, just to make note of anyone who might be exceptionally interesting. Isaac Lundstrom is an RFA who's on the trade block. So we'll just look at skaters matching the block, and we'll sort by overall. So Lundstrom on the Ducks is an option. Coyotes, nobody. Bruins, nobody. Sabres, nobody. Flames have Shillington, whatever. Evgeny Sveshnikov on the block for the Hurricanes. Charlie Coyle for the Hawks. Prospects, nobody. Mikheyev, Johansson, Tyler Toffoli getting paid big time, so yeah, that's not going to happen. Red Wings have Shea Theodore making, and even Dougie Hamilton, they're making a ton of money. Don't need to do that. Oilers, prospects. Florida, prospects. Ryan Ellis, Robbie Fabry. We were talking about Fabry earlier. He got signed to 2 years, $4.31 million. Interesting. Coleman on the Canadiens. Nashville, prospects. Devils, nobody. Griffin is an RFA who's on the block here. Russ Griffin, two-way forward center. 8th overall pick in 2021. That would be interesting, but we don't really need a centerman. That's a really interesting name to see on the block, though. That's super tempting. Spurgeon's on the block. More prospects. Flyers. Sean Couturier. Phil Danault, both on the block. Very tempting also. Always when Phil Danault is on the block. Pearson. Pulak. Clefbaum. Prospects. Nobody. Alex Pietrangelo. And that Winnipeg, that's it. So not a lot of big names on the block, which isn't helpful because we'll have to go and trade for someone who isn't on the block. And not only is that hard to trade for, but that opens us up to just way too many options. If I'm saying any sniper who's between, I don't know, 82 and 85, that's pushing it for the third line. Let's say 82 and 85 overall. Just that gives us 30 options, which is kind of heavy, but I guess not the craziest. And, do I see these names on the third line? Like Connor Garland. And these are the contracts that they're on as well. Here are some of the names, if anybody's interested in looking into these. Not good contracts at all. Nichushkin, no. Andrea Janssen. Veranda's not on a bad deal. But then it just, yeah, it's just nothing that's tempting me. Oh, Enqvist, man, Enqvist. But just because Enqvist didn't work, it doesn't mean we can't go out and still do that same idea that we had for another big power forward. If we're looking at all the power forwards in the NHL, and we're just sorting by overall, yeah, we couldn't get Enqvist, but we still could go after maybe Dylan Cousins could play right wing for us. He's signed for 4 more years at $7.7 million. That's not bad at all. Last season, he scored 67 points. Dylan Cousins could be a guy we look at 24 years of age and not on a bad contract, because a lot of other guys are just on bad contracts. Kravtsov's at 1 more year at $3 million. Dubois not going to happen. Landeskog's a bit too old. Matthew Tkachuk maybe $8.12 million. He simulates. How does he simulate? He had 52 points and 50. Yeah, not the greatest numbers. But Kravtsov's interesting. Greenway, of course, a monster. Brock Nelson. A lot of these are 1-year deals. Kiefer Bellows, of course. Brady Tkachuk. Kirby Doc. But we're thinking more like right wing. And now we're getting too low in the overall. If we were to do that deal, it'd probably just be for Dylan Cousins. So if we were to go and get him, what are they thinking about a deal like this? Isn't up to snuff at all. So what if we make it 2 seconds? I don't want to make this deal necessarily, but I want to see how close does it get. Let's just go for 1 second. Okay, isn't up to snuff at all, even with 1 second. So that makes me a bit concerned. And even then, even going up to 71 million isn't enough. So we still need to add like 8 million on the cap. There's a lot of stuff we need to do for next episode. I will go and check out Zach Parise. Hopefully he's still around. I don't think anybody signed him, but let's go sort by age right here. And there he is. He still wants 2 million. What a guy. What a guy. But you know what? We have money to burn. We may as well give it to him. 75 overall. I don't even know if he'll play a single game, but just to say, we don't want him to retire as a free agent. 41 years of age. Zach Parise, come back for your final season. Yeah, you're considering your options. I'm sure you are. There are still, just pretty much Lundstrom and Griffin who are still in free agency as RFAs. And that is it. I have nothing left to say. I don't know what to say. I'm going to send out the scouts, but I'm going to stop right here, and that is it. In what could have been a huge offseason, we're still left with a lot of questions. We didn't draft the player we wanted to draft. We wanted to make a trade there. We didn't get to trade for the player we wanted in free agency. We didn't make the splash that we wanted in free agency either, with all that money to play with, because we were banking so much on Enqvist. And then the coach was the biggest issue of all, because we didn't know what to do with him. So that's probably the thing I need your advice on the most. What do we do for this broken coaching system? Do we just keep the +3? Do we get a different head coach? Do we hire someone who is in the 60% of the team fit, but maybe has one downfall? For example, like doesn't like Torrey Krug. This coach looks great, but he doesn't like Torrey Krug. Does that matter? Because I want to play him with Leon Botter, but would that get a +3, +5? I don't know. So I'm just going to stop talking. This was it's not really over yet. Like I could do it, like next episode could be just like a 20-30 minute episode finishing the off season. So I guess I'll call this off-season part 1, but it's just been such a headache, and I'm just talking so much going in circles, so I'm going to stop myself there. Please let me know your thoughts. I'm looking forward to hearing your suggestions. The lines are not bad. These are not bad lines at all, but with so much money and so much trade value to deal with, we can make this team better, and I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts as to how that may be. So thank you so much for watching and bearing with me. I hope that you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing. We would love to have you here. Your links for everything that you need are down in the description, including the Discord server that I went to a lot in this episode. So if you want to be consulted on things like mid-episode questions, that will be the place to hop in. So I look forward to seeing you there and hearing your thoughts in the YouTube comments and on the Discord server. So next episode will be part 2 of the off season, which will be hopefully 20-30 minutes, and then the episode after that will be actually year number 6. So unfortunately the off season is not over yet, but that allows all of you to come in and give your thoughts. And unfortunately it was pretty much Enqvist or bust, because we could have signed a guy like Yamamoto or whoever else was available for a big deal at $8+ million. But to get another 86, another mid-80 guy who's costing a lot, like trading Burakovsky's one thing, but to sign another mid-80s player and then trade him away, that's maybe just a bit too cheesing the system. As well as we were just going for that real big, huge name. We don't necessarily want to go for another mid-80s kind of player, so that's why the Yamamoto deal never really came about. But anyways, I digress. I'm going to stop talking. Thank you so much for watching once again, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.